Today, APRA hopeless on branch closures. Hello again, it's Martin North from Digital Finance Analytics, world latest post covering finance and property news. Well, journalist Dale Webster over at The Regional has rightly launched an attack on APRA, the banking regulator. They released their annual point of presence data that showed an 11% fall in bank branches nationally in 12 months, and that triggered headlines around Australia last week screaming out about bank closures. Channel 9 was one of many media outlets that picked up the story, reporting that 424 branches had shut their doors for the final time. But as Dale writes, the problem is APRA never actually said that. The latest statistics show a further decline in bank branches in the year to the 30th of June 2023, with a reduction of 424 branches across Australia, that's 11%, including 122 branches, 7% in regional and remote areas. This continues a trend that has seen branch numbers decline by 34% in regional and remote areas and 37% overall since the end of June 2017. What unsuspecting media did not pick up was that among those 424 branches were a number of sites that had been stripped of branch status because they no longer provided the level of service required to be classified as such by law. The doors are still very much open, but they are among the growing number of banks that have no tellers and customers can only get cash from an ATM. The problem for the bank's owners, though, is that unless a customer can get cash out from a teller over the counter, the site or points of presence cannot legally be reported as a branch in government data. Instead, it's required to be reported as other face-to-face, which is basically an office. And a quick check of this year's APRA points of present data found 14 of the 424 branches, that's 10 ANZ and 2 NAB, that disappeared from the branch list had not closed but instead been downgraded to other face-to-face. And we know about those 14 sites in particular because APRA has been aware for more than 12 months that they did not meet the legal definition of a branch, but allowed them to be reported as branches anyway in the 2022 data. And at the time, APRA justified its decision by saying in cases where branches were staffed and offered customers the ability to withdraw or deposit cash using ATMs, APRA considered that those facilities continued to meet its definition of a branch. A year later, however, these sites have been reclassified as other face-to-face in a backflip that leaves APRA in no man's land in terms of enforcing the legislation. It's messy, very, very messy. The media coverage of the data released last week only adds to the confusion. APRA was asked if it should use the important notices mechanism it has to alert users to the point of presence database, like journalists, of anything of significance that could have an impact on the interpretation of the results. There is a precedent for this on the subject of classification changes. The important notices tab was used last year, for example, to notify that Rabobank and Hong Kong Shanghai Bank Corporation branches had been reclassified as other face-to-face after years of misreporting. Why not do the same for the ANZ and NAB sites this year, or any others that we still don't know about? APRA says that the banks do not tell them they had previously made an error of classification, but Dale did in a series of stories published in October last year before the release of the 2022 data. The information was also sent to APRA and the Federal Treasurer Jim Chalmers directly, while the Attorney General Mark Dreyfus had been alerted to concerns over the way APRA had handled changes to Bendigo and Adelaide Bank data in 2021. APRA was given an opportunity to provide a statement for this story, clarifying this point, in particular what factors other than branch closures can contribute to movement in classifications from year to year, but it declined. And APRA was also asked to provide a list of bank sites that had been moved from the 2022 branch list and into its other face-to-face in 2023, so the true number of branch closures could be seen, but it said it could not because the database was not set up to identify changes in classifications. So we are left with what could be described as a bit of a situation, according to Dale. Actually, I think it's more deliberate, as APRA again manages to hide the real story. On this, they have form, given their close alignment with the banks. They are, in my view, hardly independent, nor are an effective regulator. Now, there is a Senate inquiry underway that will at some point be asking the government agency that was tasked with the job of keeping track of bank closures by the first inquiry into the issue more than 20 years ago how many banks have closed in regional Australia in the past 12 months. But frankly, the only honest answer APRA can give is that it just doesn't know. And if you want more information on this and other stories relating to branch closures, I do recommend that you go and sign up for the regional. I'll put a link below. Dale has done some very sterling work over a long period of time, and frankly, we're not letting people get away with stuff. So join up and continue the battle. I'm Martin North from Digital Finance Analytics. Many thanks for watching, and I'll see you again next time.